Hey everyone, welcome back to Talltanic. Alexa here. If you're waiting for the answer to yesterday's question, make sure to stick around to see if your comment was featured with the right answer. In the meantime, though, let's look at our hands and get into things palm reading might say about you. The history of palmistry. First, let's start off with some background. You might see gimmicky books and pretty fake psychics and teen magazine articles telling you all about how to read palms and what those lines mean. However, the real history of palmistry goes back to India. Later on, it would eventually spread to nearby cultures in China, Tibet, and Nepal, all the way to Babylonia and Persia. The art of palm reading, also referred to as chiromancy, studies the palm for the purpose of foretelling one's future. The practice would eventually reach Europe by the Middle Ages. The Catholic Church would prohibit palmistry as they considered it an act of pagan superstition. Because of all the different schools of palmistry and its extensive history, there's a vast way to interpret all the different lines. But here are some of the ways we can look at it. Reading the heart line. So now we get to reading lines. Let's take a look at one of the major ones, the heart line. You'll find the heart line curving under your pinky ring, the middle finger, as seen on this chart, and may also be referred to as the love line. The heart line is just one of the three major lines in palm reading, which we'll get to later. As you could probably tell by its name, this major line reveals your history and subconscious feelings of intimacy and how your past relationships affect you in the present day. If you have a long, straight line that ends under your index finger, it tells us that you think rationally and are considerate. If it's short and long, you're the type of person that shows love rather than says it all the time. A curved line that's long means you're driven by your passions and are unapologetic about it. If that line splits in two, then you're known to put other people's feelings before your own. While a line with X's at the outer palm means you've known what betrayal feels like. The higher the line reaches, the more cautious you are about love. The size of your hands. Yes, not only are we looking at your palms, but the size of your hand counts too. Large hands show that you have incredible attention to detail, a methodical person that also likes order and obedience. What if you have small hands? Then you must be energetic, and while you like order and governing too, you like to be the one in charge. If you're somewhere in between, as in your fingers are as long as your palm, you're good at business. Wider hands show us that you're a sympathetic person and open to new perspectives, while narrower hands show you can be critical of things, especially yourself. Your hand shape and feel. Related to the size of your hand, palmistry experts would also have to look at its shape. First, look at your fingers. Do you think you have more square or pointed hands? If it appears more square, then that lets others know you have what's called good horse sense, meaning you are a smart and practical person. You possess a keen sense of accuracy as well as a tendency to think reasonably. If your hands look more pointed, then you indulge in a more spiritual way of thinking and like to exist in a space of ideality. Looking more at the feel of your hands, i.e. they're soft or rough, having soft hands can be interpreted as a person who works in waves or spasms rather than consistently. Rougher hands mean you love to work, in turn showing you have lots of energy, though this could mean you don't always know your goal, but when you figure it out, you'll be just fine getting there. Minor lines, the sun line. Let's talk some minor lines now. The sun line, sometimes called the Apollo line, can be found at the base of your palm and extends towards the pinky. This area of your palm is known as the mount of the moon, with the line descending into the mount of the sun under your ring finger. If the line is barely there, really short, or just gone completely, here's what that could mean. Either you live an ordinary life, or it's difficult to gain success. Narrow lines indicate you can be successful, but only after you get older. For people with sun lines clearly there, that means you've got good taste in the arts. Two sun lines depict versatility. A person of many talents, more than two, could point you towards financial difficulty. The headline. Here is the second major line we'll discuss today. The headline. It's the next major line down from the heart line to which it runs parallel. Professional palm readers regard this as what shapes your intellect. A short headline, one that runs toward the middle finger, means that you may be slow to respond to a person, even careless and indecisive, but you can also find a systematic way to finish something when you really put your mind to it. Medium headlines belong to the most brilliant people and show you have powerful abilities. Longer headlines can be found on those who think clearly and are readily responsive and also quite considerate, with an inclination to think maybe too much. Wedding bells, maybe? Back to minor palm lines, like the marriage line, for instance. For something so major in one's life, it appears rather small on the palm. You'll catch the marriage line at the edge of your palm, under your pinky. It's usually quite small in comparison to your other major lines. A straight, long marriage line shows you have potential for deep, long-lasting love. Shorter lines might mean you aren't really into the opposite sex too much, or that it's difficult for you to fall in love. However, don't despair. If you have 2 lines, as most people do, and they're deep or defined, it shows you can still experience a good marriage. An absence of any marriage lines could mean that you're not interested in love or the opposite sex at all. Finger interpretations. The thumb. When it comes to palmistry, it's not just solely about the palm. You look at the whole hand, even the fingers. All your fingers and their characteristics hold different meanings. Starting at the thumb, palmistry says that thick thumbs mean this person behaves in a practical way when it comes to money, and that their money does come from their parents, and someone with a thin, uneven, flat, or even really flexible thumb might spend money frivolously and will seek enjoyment and avoid a methodical life. Short thumbs show you were self-reliant at a young age, while longer thumbs belong to people who progress fast in life, do well in school, and ride on smooth sails when it comes to finances. All that from just the thumb? Imagine what the other 4 could say about you. Show me the money. The thumb may say a lot about your upbringing concerning money and how you tend to deal with it, but to talk exclusively about the future of your finances, we look to the money line. Located underneath your pinky near your marriage lines, if you see a lot of deep and defined lines, it points to a mind that's great at investing. If you also have a straight sun line, that means you could show potential for fame and riches. Money lines that are intermittent show a life of difficult finances, while a wavy line or lines mean that your wealth is not going to be stable, though you can still achieve success. You just have to work a little harder than all the others. What hand to read? We've gotten this far and we didn't even tell you what hand you're supposed to be looking at. But wait a minute, this whole time, which hand did you instinctively look at first? Think of first. In palmistry, you look to the dominant hand to look at your destiny, the future. On the other hand, yeah, we made that joke, you get to see the potential you have. Your dominant hand, the hand you write with and handle mostly with, portrays your life's journey, things in the past and things that changed your future. What you see from the dominant hand are things that have to deal with the way things can go, the potential in you, some that you possibly didn't use. It presents more of the future. Your gender also depends on which palm to read, as it may differ from men to women. The 4 elements of the hand: earth, air, water, fire. The 4 elements not only of the world, but of the hands, it seems. It's the simplest type of palmistry categorization, though it can say a lot about you and has a lot to do with the shape of your hand. Someone with an earth palm has short fingers that look square. People with these hands usually prefer the outdoors, are dependable people, and have a realistic approach to life. Most of the time, this corresponds with the astrological signs of Virgo, Taurus, and Capricorn. The water element includes hands that have long, slender fingers and are more rectangular. Those with this hand act through their emotions. If they're not careful, it dictates their lives. Water elements, of course, correspond with water signs like Pisces, Scorpio, and Cancer. Fire-handed people have long, rectangular palms but shorter fingers and will usually be the more outgoing type of person. Thriving this way can cause you to burn out and be impatient, like with Sagittarius, Leo, and Aries signs. Finally, we get to the air hands, square palms and long fingers. Though they are excellent at communication and analyzing details, they do tend to over-worry, correlating to the Aquarius, Libra, and Gemini signs. Mounts and planes. What in the world are mounts and planes, and what do they have to do with your hands? Well, curious viewer, let's see. One hand has 7 mounts: Mercury under the pinky, Mars under Mercury, Luna under Mars, Jupiter under the index, Venus between the thumb and wrist, Saturn below the middle finger, and Apollo below the ring finger. Mercury in general is all about your wisdom. Mars is split in 2. Upper Mars shows your self-control, while lower Mars is your measurement of courage. Luna, or the moon, has to do with your imagination and intuition. Jupiter indicates your willpower, ambition, and self-respect. Venus relates to subjects of love and health. Saturn interprets your perspective on life, while Apollo is all about emotions, interest, beauty, and even money. The fate line. Some may call it the luck line, although it's far more commonly called the fate line. You'll find this line running perpendicular to the heart and head line, as seen in this picture. The fate line corresponds with your career, your your luck and your destiny. Along this vertical line, measurements of your age can be marked with the base of the palm marking age 5, and it only goes upwards from there. A long fate line that also appears deep appears on people who will start their own businesses. The narrower the line is, the smoother your fortune will be in this endeavor. Shallow fate lines show you work hard, though your career might go all over the place. Whether it stops at your heart or headline, or which directions it goes, can also have various outcomes. Hey guys, before we get to number 1, let's have a look at yesterday's pop quiz winner. Congratulations to Sandra. If you didn't get a chance to answer yesterday's trivia, let's talk hands in the comments below. According to number 4, I have water-type hands with long, slender fingers. But how would you categorize your hands? The third major line. We have the third and last major line of your palm, the lifeline. Sounds really major. The lifeline usually gets mistaken for the length of your life, but that's not entirely true. It's really more about your energy, vitality, not a measurement of days. A long, deep lifeline shows how resistant you are to illness. If it's shorter, that shows you probably get sick often. A thick line means that you're physically very capable and probably do well at sports. A more circular line appears on those who are full of energy, while a more cramped line means you easily get tired. Some people have double lines, which suggests even stronger vitality. Thank you guys so much for watching. Give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed today's video. For more videos just like this one, make sure you're subscribed and hit that bell notification.